Good afternoon, everyone. Sid here again. Just starting to rain, so I'll try and pump this one out before it gets too wet. So the spinach patch is still pumping along quite nicely. I'm due for another pick out of there. I've harvested this probably a dozen times now, and although I'm not living out of the garden yet, it's certainly contributing to quite a bit of the meals. So this little bed's pumping along very nicely. The beetroot, the clover's getting away. I've got to come in and pull out a few more of the stinging nettles again. They're getting away very nicely as well. The radishes are pumping. I picked some of them just now and they'll be on the cover photo for this video. All of the brassicas, the collies, cabbages and broccoli are looking very healthy. Not too much insect damage on them. And the beetroot's ticking away. You just can't quite see it in amongst the clover there. So I'll probably clip some of the clover off and feed it to the chooks as green feed. That's what I've got to let it go for. So this garden bed's pumping along quite nicely. So I thinned out some of the lettuces from the original beds where I planted them quite thick. So they've transplanted a couple of days into here, and I just gave them a follow-up water with some wormweed just to get them over the transplant shock, and they seem to be kicking along all right now. Bit of celery, garlic, and in the middle there, that's cauliflowers. A few more lettuces in that tie there. The peas in this one haven't emerged yet, but we'll see what happens with them. The broad beans here are coming away very nicely, and that's mini collies in the middle there. And beetroot and carrots are just emerged out there. So that's sort of my sequential planting, I suppose. So these ones will come on a bit later. We've got mini cabbages in the middle there and iceberg lettuce around the outside, so I'm not too far away from being able to pick some of those out and transplant them out. And that's a purple broccoli in the middle with some mini cabbages around the outside. The garlic that Ruby's planted, that's kicking away very nicely, so that's going to be looking like a ripping crop this year. Ruby's mum requested some coriander, so I put some in just for a bit of peace so she didn't nag Ruby too much. Ruby's sweet basil didn't go, so I planted a perennial basil in the middle there, and I've just put some lettuces around the outside on one side there. That's what I had left over. The rocket's booming away quite nicely there, and I'll be able to start getting a pick off that soon, pick some rocket leaves. And I've put some French dwarf beans in here, so I've just got to be mindful that I can only water them with rainwater. I can't use my bore water if I need to water them. So I've just shot another video with potatoes, which I planted in the sweet potato bed because the sweet potatoes failed in the cold. They didn't like it. So this is the spinach. So these little series of beds, they're really pumping along nicely now. Spinach, I've just taken a pick off the spinach because I'm making Shirley pizza for tea tonight because it's her birthday and that's what she wanted. And Shirley likes to have a bit of spinach on her pizza, so that's coming out of the garden. Beetroot, a few carrots in there. They're booming away. The broad beans are starting to get some legs on there, and there's a few buds starting to emerge if you look. The turnips, there's really nothing much on the bottom end yet, but the foliage is going fantastically. Carrots as well, still nothing much on the bottom, but again the tops are going well. So as it warms up, they'll start to push into the bottom a little bit, hopefully. The beetroot over there is ticking along nicely. My lettuces here, I've been continuously harvesting them, and they're keeping us in lettuce, so we're not having to spend a fortune on lettuce. We're going okay there. And over here, one of the collies, so they're all starting to hard up, but this one here, so that's about probably just over 100 mil across now, so he'll be ready to pick soon. The kale is looking beautiful. The bok choy that I put in, that's hanging on and that's taking off very nicely, so I like bok choy as well. The spring onions are booming away there. My potatoes in a box, they're starting to yellow off a bit, which they've had some fertiliser. It could be potato wilt, and these garlic plants could have a bit of rust on them, so the middle leaves are coming out quite healthy, so I'm in two minds as to whether to do anything with the rust yet or not, but I'll be keeping an eye on them. The parsley's starting to move nicely there, the curly leaf, which is my preferred parsley. So this is where I took some lettuces out of, and I can take some more out of there soon to transplant elsewhere. This little mix tire, I've been harvesting some lettuce out of here. It won't be too far before I'm harvesting some silver beet as well. And the broad beans are still ticking along in there nicely as well. And here's the flat leaf parsley, that's booming away. I'd better take another pick off that soon. The lettuce is in the loo, and the chives and the spring onions. So anyway, that's where the garden's at the moment, and we've been getting some feeds out of it. And that's the whole plan, and I'm sort of a bit excited about moving forward into starting to get, you know, towards the end of July, August, tomatoes, some of the summer plantings coming in out in these areas here. All right, thank you very much for having a look, and I will catch you next time.